Hey folks, I'm Dave.
And I'm Ben.
And we're back. It's been a little while, hasn't
You
it?
thought you got rid of us?
You thought that was it. You're wrong. You are wrong. Unfortunately, you are actually wrong here. So, first of all, I want to get a few things out of the way. I want to apologise for the lack of videos in the last few weeks. I think the last one was the New Year's video that I did.
Yeah, that was just you. Yeah.
And yeah, I was apologising as well because you couldn't be there because of all the flooding that had taken place. But we managed to get in.
Yeah.
I swam to get in. Swam?
Swimmed.
Swam. Even. Yeah, I swam over there. It was great. So it's nice to be back. It's nice to see you guys. I hope you had a fantastic New Year, Christmas and all of that stuff. We've been quite busy with workshops over the last 3 weeks. We actually dove straight into...
Dived.
Dave. I'm too good. We had a series of workshops as soon as we got back into the new year, which was pretty much eating up all of our time. And then we had a really bad series of illnesses going around. So enough excuses. We're back now.
And then A-levels.
And you've had your A-levels as well. So just joy.
Yeah.
All around. But at least we can stop thinking about that.
Yeah, for now.
For now. And then it's back to the pain of A-levels. Glad I'm not there anymore, I'll be honest. Secondly, you might notice that my voice is a little bit croaky, as it did happen there, as I said the word croaky. This is not intentional, even though it does sound really classy. I just have a bit of a poorly throat, so please bear with me, and I do apologise if you struggle to understand what it is that I'm saying, which is difficult at the best of times. Anyway, okay, I think that's enough housekeeping going on. Thank you for being here and for being with the videos, and obviously go and check out FUZE Arena and all that good stuff. Like, share, subscribe. I'll say it again at the end. If you like what you see, keep it coming, because we really appreciate all the feedback. It is awesome. So this video is all about the sort of last, I say last, there's never really a last, but it's structures, as you might have guessed from the giant box. It could be bigger. Let's make it a bit bigger. There we go. That's great. Oh, someone's playing FUZE. That's always nice to see. Shout out to Piano Fire there, a valued member of the FUZE team. You probably will have seen him on the arena, helping everybody out. He's awesome. And so is everyone else in FUZE. But yeah, structures. This is to sort of round out the sort of more advanced side. I hesitate to say advanced because it is still quite a basic concept, but it's on the more advanced end of the basic concepts spectrum. Does that
So take the basic concepts, and it's one of the more advanced in that section.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
No problem.
Put it more clearly. It's super helpful, and as soon as you feel comfortable with structures, pretty much all of the FUZE demo programs will make a lot more sense. So when you're looking through, you will be a lot more able to identify the parts of the program where you need to change certain things, to change certain properties of things and whatnot. And B, you will just feel more comfortable writing any video game. In fact, not just video games sort of related. This is a really, really useful concept. So I'll stop banging on about it and we'll actually get into it. So what is a structure? Well, we've chosen to do it here in our series because you have to understand arrays and variables before you can even begin to look at structures. It would be wrong to sort of jump straight into it. Although, if you remember the controls project that we did, the little controls tutorial, you may remember this word because we did mention it in passing there. And we didn't go into too much detail there because it wasn't fully necessary to just get using the controls. But at the end of this video, you will feel even more comfortable with the controls. So it's like an array. It's a way of storing data, pretty much. But it looks quite specific, and a structure has what are called properties. Essentially, if you imagine an array where we've got a big table of information, and each part of that table has a number. So if you just remind us, Ben, if you there we go. Just put a few numbers in there just for the sake of it. Nice, I'm glad that you did that. So you've deliberately not done 2 as the second element there to illustrate the point. Read my mind, brilliant. So in this little simple array called numbers, we have 3 elements: the 0 element, the 1 element, and the 2 element. And the 0 element is 1. The first element, I'm confusing myself here, even talking about this.
0 is 1.
The 0th element is 1. The element named 1 is 3. And the element named 2 is 2. I am sorry if that was...
0, 1, 2.
Things always start at 0. Just never ever forget that. Always try and bear it in mind. I'm always forgetting this myself as well. But that is how it is with coding. And if you imagine, instead of having the numbers to represent these elements, instead we had names. It allows us to name each drawer in our chest of drawers, if you like. I could make this really apparent by doing a structure called drawers. And we could do it. Let's make a structure called drawers. However, Ben, could you make it outside of the loop for me, please? And there's a reason for that. Sometimes it's right to define a structure in a loop, but generally you don't want to. It's something that you define at the start of your program, and you'll see this. Drawers, Ben?
Is it?
Yeah. A chest of drawers.
I mentioned I'm doing A-levels. I'm not doing English.
That's correct.
I'm doing maths.
Maths, computer science, history? Yeah, there you go.
And further maths.
And further maths. Even further maths. But spelling a word like drawers, very, very difficult. So you will start to recognise this as we go through this little structure from the Fuze demo programs. Actually, Ben, could you just press enter a couple of times so that we're structuring this in the way that it's structured typically in the Fuze programs? Excellent. And then we tab in to show that we're inside the structure. And what are some of the things that we have in our chest of drawers? I keep my socks in my chest of drawers at home. So if we do dot socks, and right away we've got the first identifier of a structure. If you see a dot, pretty much, I'm hesitant to say anywhere in Fuze.
Pretty much anyway.
I think it is, other than if it's between 2 numbers and you're talking about a decimal point. But if you see it anywhere, we're talking about the property of the structure. So dot socks is now the name of our drawer in our chest of drawers, and we could, let's say I've got 249 socks in there. A nice odd number, because no one's got an even number of socks in their drawers. Let's be realistic.
I have.
No, you don't, Ben. I think you should have a good look when you get home and see if you actually do.
I will do.
You count them, get back to me. When you are defining a structure, you must separate each part of that structure, each property, with commas, just like you would with an array. And then if we go to the next line, we could keep some shirts in our drawers as well, shirts. And I might have just 2 shirts. Yeah, just 2. I've got 2 white shirts. Pretty much the rest are just t-shirts and jumpers, actually. We separate that with a comma, and jeans, perhaps. Right, and we could maybe say
I'm doubting everything I spell now.
That's jeans with a Genes. No, it's...
Oh no, isn't it?
That's the one, genies.
Like that.
That's there we go, Ben. The proper spelling of jeans, and we have to change that. I feel too. It's troubling me somewhat. Okay, jeans. We've got let's say 3 pairs of jeans. We're not outlandish here. We invested all of our money in socks. Okay, so we couldn't afford any more jeans. And now we have got a structure, a complete structure. Now, of course, I'm just going to grab the Joy-Cons, Ben. As with all the things in Fuze, the formatting is incredibly forgiving. So I've structured it like this, or Ben structured it like this. Or really, I've asked Ben to structure it like this. Because when you look at the Fuze demo programs, and we should have a little check out actually of some, once we've covered this. They are structured like this, because they tend to have a lot of properties. Although, depending on who's written it, you might see a different format. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with structuring it like this. And if you've got lots of structures, and they only have a few properties, to be honest, this is probably a better way of formatting it in terms of readability. If you had a bunch of these, obviously not all the same, you can see it's taking up a lot less lines, because how it was before was taking up quite a few lines of code. Let's just undo until we're back at that point. There we go. If we had a lot of these, we're taking up a lot of space. Now, of course, after I say all this, it's down to you. So it really is, it's your style. Get comfortable with what you like, and you keep doing that. Okay, so if we wanted to access this structure then let's just print something first. And let's do a quick text size function so that we've got a nice and visible numbers on our screen. We'll do a nice 200 or something. Yeah. Renegade. I like it. So in the loop, let's access this. Let's just print one of these structure properties. And it is, as you'd probably imagine, the name of the structure, drawers, dot, and we'll print the amount of socks we have. And that's it. Now notice, and this is one thing that might trip you up a little bit when you're getting used to structures, and I'm going to complicate this even further as we go. There are no square brackets when we access this, because now that we've got a structure here, there are no elements to this structure. It's not an array. This is not the 0th element. This is not the one element. There are only properties, named properties. Now we will get to a bit of an exception of that rule when we look at an array of structures, and then you have arrays of structures indexing arrays of structure properties. It obviously, with all these things, it goes wild eventually. But let's see if this works. We get 249 socks. Cool. All good. Such a ridiculous number of socks. Right. And that's that. Simple as that. That's creating a structure and accessing it. But we should probably do something a little bit more, I don't know, usable in a context of a game that you might make. Now, there's a tutorial in the Fuze tutorials, which we're going to be drawing upon heavily here, and I do recommend that you check it out. It's a bit of a silly game, and it's not that impressive, but it's the bare minimum. And it also shows you a few different ways that you can define a structure. It's called Shape Race, and it's in the Structures tutorial, and it basically just chooses a random speed and fires 3 shapes across the screen. But let's just look at one of those particular shapes that we might want to use, and then we'll draw a shape on screen using those properties.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Good. Yeah.
Cool. So we'll do a structure called shape. And shape equals open square bracket. And one of these qualities that we might want to have, properties that we might want the shape to have, is the position on screen. You might want to have a couple of different positions. Now I'm going to stay away from using vectors for this tutorial because I want to do vectors in a later video. So we'll split it up into X and Y positions. So we'll do that as the middle, g-width divided by 2. And Y position, obviously we'll do G height divided by 2, well remembered on the comma there. In our drawers structure, we only had numbers as properties, but I wanted to do this just to demonstrate that you can have multiple different things. So we'll store all the things that we need for a shape in this structure. Let's have a number of sides. We'll call it sides. And should we do random? Let's do random. But of course, we need a minimum of 2 sides to make an actual shape. So if we do random 10 plus 2 or something like that, that seems like it will be quite nice. What else will we need for our shape?
Colour.
Yeah, colour. Yeah, .col. You'll see that property all over the place in the Fuze projects. We tend to shorten it to col. Another shout out to Piano Fire there. He'll know what I'm talking about. Let's do something easy, gold or something like that. Nice and gold. Am I missing anything here? The fill, the outline. If we do dot outline equals true. Dot outline equals true. And I think we need a comma after gold there. I think that is about it actually. No, we're missing one. Size. Of course. Dot size. Let's do a nice big shape. So, I don't know. 200, 250, 300, 201. The classic. It's going to be one of our favourite, more consistent numbers now. 201. Try and turn it into a meme somehow. Okay, so we've got our structure. Let's just put a shape in our loop. We'll use a circle because we've done a sides property specifically because the circle function in Fuze has an argument for the number of sides it has, which is a bit of a weird concept, but you can have a 3-sided circle in Fuze. Some of you might know it as a triangle. I call it a 3-sided circle. Excellent. Hey?
Don't we all?
Don't we all? Why wouldn't you?
We do deep down.
We all do to ourselves, you
Yeah.
know, when we're being honest with ourselves. That's what we all call these things. A square, four-sided circle, mate. Four-sided circle. So as you can see, Ben is just doing a circle function here, and as the arguments for the function, instead of just putting numbers, we are using those structure properties just as we did with the print, shape.xpos, shape.ypos, shape.size, shape.sides.
Sides, that's the one.
Then it's shape.col, and then it'll be shape.outline. Maybe we should have structured the structure to be in the right order as well. That would help. I'll just shrink that down for you so we've got all the code on screen there. Shape.outline, and let's see if it works.
Colour.
Colours already done, yeah. So no comma after the last argument in the function. Let's see if it works. Great. And we have an error. Line 19, no struct element with name sizes. That's a nice helpful error message. So we're missing an element with sizes. There we go. Look, we've called it size. And there we go. We've used size as the size, but we've got sizes instead of sides. So actually that's a really nice example of a simple error that you might run into when using structure properties.
Hang on a minute.
So change
size, sides.
That's the one. Let's go. Nice. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a nonagon.
It's definitely not called that.
It is.
No.
That
sounds wrong.
It's a nonagon.
No.
I'm pretty sure it is. We'll see. We'll see. So we should get a random. Oh, nice. There's your two-sided shape. A line.
Two-sided circle.
Sorry. Two-sided circle. Others call it a line. A lovely rhombus that's been stretched back so it's a nice even rhombus. What's that one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Septagon. Right. Heptagon. We're not really representing very well here, are we? Our shape knowledge. It's a seven-sided circle, and that makes it much easier.
It doesn't matter what the mathematicians call it.
Exactly.
It's a seven-sided circle.
We all understand each other perfectly well.
Yeah.
Let's leave those mathematicians in the dirt. They're in the in the dark ages calling things individual names. Silly. So there's that single shape. What if we wanted to have an array of these shapes, and we wanted each one to have these properties, and we wanted all those properties to be different? In that case, we would have to do quite a long definition. So I think what we'll do here is a good old Fuze time lapse, and you'll just see us moving incredibly quickly. Look, this mutual typing animation. And we'll get back to you in a second with our completed array. We'll do three shapes. Here we go. There we go. Hopefully we cut back in at that right moment there. We'll see. We'll see what our video editor has in store for us. So this is now looking a bit different. We've duplicated that structure 3 times, and we've stuck all of those into an array called shape. So this has changed things somewhat. Shape is no longer a structure. Shape is now an array which contains 3 structures. So shape is now an array with 3 elements. You can actually talk about this is shape 0 in square brackets, this is shape 1 in square brackets, and each element is a structure. Now there's a more fancy way of doing this if you don't really care about what the properties exactly are going to be. But if you want to define them all as separate things, for example, if you were doing something like an RPG, and you had multiple characters in your party, like a mage, a warrior, a healer, or a cleric or something, they're all going to need different HP, different stats, different weapons, different attributes and stuff, different images. And in that case, you might actually find that something like this is a really beneficial way of structuring that. And of course, you could structure this all on one line if you wanted to, but as you'll see, when we're doing something with a lot of properties, it ends up looking quite complicated. So structuring it vertically, nice and clear. We need to change some of these properties because at the minute they're all the same. So how about we put? I'll give you the keyboard Ben there. Should we do G-width? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Duet divided by 4. We'll keep it in the middle. We'll just put them all across the screen like that. So if we do, duet divided by 4. Sides are still random, that's fine. We'll keep that one as gold. We'll keep that one in the middle, very, very nice. And then I guess if we do G width times 0.75, that'll get us there, won't it? Right?
Yeah, no, it would, but
I know it's not staying true to the divide, but really I could be really, really mean and just do it this way. I've gotten into the habit now of multiplying all the time. I find it easy to think about. This is one of those things where it's like to each their own, isn't it? To each their own. And I'll leave the divide by 2 in the middle. Ben's not happy with me, but let's just move on anyway. And we need a bisque shape.
agreed.
And we could do with something a bit more. I mean, gold and bisque are really, really close to each other, so something nice and, I don't know, cyan or something.
Fuse blue.
It's too long to type, Ben. Cyan is the new. No, it's not. You know what? I take it back. Fuse blue. And for outline, let's go with false for this one. So we've got some different properties. Now, we're going to have a problem. Let's run it and see the problem straight away. Our error is now on the circle line. And it's because we've got an invalid variable access. This is one of those error messages which might make you think, might make your head spin a little bit. But it does make sense if you think about it. We're trying to access this variable, shape, in an invalid way. Remember I said shape is now an array of 3 elements. So we need to specify which one we're actually talking about. So let's do exactly that. We're going to need some square brackets and some zeros, aren't we, Ben? And we're going to be really annoying. And for those of you who are totally comfortable with for loops, I'm sure that you won't be very happy with me. But we will do 3 separate circle lines just to really drill this home. And then we might just use a for loop. Tell you what, I'll clear the clipboard, That'll be helpful.
Thank you very much.
We'll use a for loop to actually just draw them all, because it's quite a nice way of doing things. Let me shrink that down a little bit so we can see it a bit more clearly. And hopefully this is above our heads and not behind our necks. There we go. So, no, I can't see my screen. And now we're accessing this in a correct way. We are accessing shape 0, the 0 element of the array called shape, and the exposition property of the structure contained within that element. I think I got that right. Let's run it. We get our first shape. If we do this, and let's go ahead and put some 1s in here then, and some 2s. So that's a nice way of doing it. Nice and fast in the interest of speed. Hopefully you'll be able to understand and see what's going on here. 3 separate different circle lines, all accessing the 3 different elements of the shape array, but each of those accessing the properties of the structure contained within. These are the sorts of sentences that I never thought I'd be able to say. There we go. That's lovely. We've got the same number of sides. There we go. All different shapes, all different circles. Sorry, they're all the same shape. They're all circles,
they're all circles,
just with different numbers of sizes. So hopefully this provides a bit of light on to when you've been looking through the Fuse programs and you see this sort of a thing, and it's a bit confusing. And it's fair enough. Okay, these square brackets, they do take some getting used to, but it really is, I'll say it again, it is a to each their own thing. If you can, I know that some people find it easier to see things like this, you know? And to have the square brackets on the same lines as the properties. Oh, what have I just done? There we go. Sort of like that. In fact, I know that John actually loves to do structures like this, and it really is just what benefits you. Personally, I like them looking like this. It's up to you. Just try not to make all the spaces totally different and in random places. Right, so to get to the third...
If you do, it doesn't matter.
Sorry, man. True.
If you put different spaces on different... like you could...
This is the catch-22 of Fuse.
Like that.
Tears.
And it would still work.
It would work just fine. You can do it. Fuse does not care. But you might care, and somebody else reading your program might care. So that, I think, wraps it up for the basics of a structure. In fact, you know what we're going to do, Ben?
What are we going to do?
I'll tell you right now, Ben, on the fly. We're going to do this in 2 videos. We'll call this one Simple Structures, because this is a nice introduction to just recognising structures and setting them up. In the next video, we are going to talk about some more complicated ones. So a different way of doing structures. And then we'll level it up even more and do quite an advanced way of defining structures. All of these will be used in the FUZE demo programs, so it will all be very useful. But I think that this video is getting on a little bit now, and just to keep it a bit more palatable so we're not rushed, let's split it up.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
I'm alright with
Any
that.
closing remarks, Ben? Things I've forgotten? Anything I'm missing out here? What do you think?
I don't believe so.
Fantastic. All right. Straight from the horse's mouth there. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that has proved helpful to you. We are going to be doing another 2 videos today. So these will all be uploaded, hopefully very, very quickly, for a total of 3 videos, to make up for the lack of videos that we've been doing recently. So, I've been Dave.
And I've been Ben.
As you know. Thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Keep it up and keep coding, and see you next time.
See you in another few months.